Hi everyone, my name is Angela Rogers and I am in Dr. O'Rourke's Kinesiology 473 course. I'm here to talk to you about my experience with this research study, and I did it on fasted cardiovascular exercise and its positive effects on body composition. So I'm here to just walk you through what I learned, and I hope that you enjoy it. So my introduction first explains what intermittent and alternate day fasting actually mean. So what I mean by this is that intermittent and alternate day fasting, as they relate to exercise, becomes purely about exercise physiology. So I'm going to bring you a little bit closer to my slide. So what this means is that there are limited or no calories on certain days. So without certain nutrition for your body to fuel off of during exercise, there's actually none that your body can utilize while it's exercising. So in turn, the body targets fat storages in a fasted state, which therefore results in decreased body fat and cardiovascular exercise as the prime aerobic activity for fasting. So there has been some controversy about whether or not fasting during exercise is healthy or risky. Basically, there's so many studies and research that have been performed to kind of knock the whole fasting thing during exercise. So when I researched for this experiment, I saw that author Stephen Boucher had performed a study on participants, generally checking to see if steady aerobic activity versus high intensity aerobic activity had a positive effect for weight loss, or if it even affected it at all. Turns out that high intensity is obviously more effective for weight loss than steady aerobic activity, but he did mention in his article that steady aerobic activity does also have positive effects with fasting. So based on this study, exercise physiology illustrates the benefits with scientific evidence. By understanding for participants or individuals as a whole to understand that this may benefit weight loss, they'll become more aware of this technique and they'll incorporate fasting into their programs and kind of learn about how exercise physiology plays a role. Also, they'll become more aware of their body and how maintaining its health can decrease the risk for clinical health markers or illnesses such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, etc. So now that we've discussed a little bit about why this is an issue and how to get society to become more aware of this type of technique, what is the actual issue here? So here I developed a hypothesis. First question, what is the issue? Does participating in cardiovascular exercise in a fasted state decrease body composition at a faster rate than exercise in a fed state for college female athletes? What I mean by this is, does fasted cardio have more benefits or increase fat metabolism at a faster rate in college female athletes, rather than eating before exercising and or eating before cardiovascular exercise? My hypothesis that I developed is fasted cardiovascular exercise decreases body fat percentage and overall body composition faster than exercising after feeding for female college athletes. So what I like about this is I chose college female athletes because they have a high level of fitness, which means that their BMI should be a little bit less than the average person. And also their BMI and their body composition might be a little bit harder to manipulate due to their high level of fitness, possible muscle mass, etc., etc. So really, this experiment will emphasize the positive benefits of cardiovascular exercise and fasting. So for this experiment, I chose 40 female college athletes with a BMI of 20 to 29 kilograms per meter squared, and between the ages of 20 and 28, considering at a college level the athletes are anywhere from 18 to 24, but generally speaking, they're still going to be active by age of 20. So I figured 20 to 28 would be a relatively fair age. I chose a pre and post-test design for 6 weeks, and I measured via hydrostatic weighing for body density before and after 6 weeks. So I felt like body density was very important because when you research hydrostatic weighing and body composition, you understand that you have to, in order to find an accurate body fat percentage, body density, and residual volume, meaning the air that's left over in the lungs after you exhale, is it will affect the reliability and validity of the data that you collect. So body density is calculated via series equation. And then from that equation, once you have the body density, you can calculate the body fat percentage, the fat tissue, and the weight of the lean tissue, as well as the residual volume. So all of these play a factor in the accuracy of the data that I collected. 30 minutes of fasted cardio on a treadmill for 5 days per week was the requirement for all participants. Basically, there was no test that needed to be done on the treadmill. We're mainly concerned about body composition as the dependent variable here. So understanding that the calculations and that the hydrostatic weighing are one of the most important parts of the study to make sure that the data that we're collecting is accurate and reliable. The statistics that I'm about to show you are the results of 10 participants that I used as an estimate of what all the results would show had I completed this study. So out of the 40, these are just 10 results for the females that I collected data from. What we expect is that leaner athletes are expected to have a higher BMI due to the muscle tissue weight. If you ever notice people that are very physically active or very lean, their BMI on the body mass index is showing that it's either overweight or obese for their height and weight. But sometimes that can be a little bit skewed due to the muscle mass, as muscle weighs more than tissue. So same concept here. We expect for the leaner females to have a little bit higher of a BMI at the end of the study, mainly due to muscle mass. What we found was that the results illustrate body fat percentage decreased by 1 to 4% at the end of the 6 weeks. The mean fat was 19.68% after calculation. Also, we just wanted to mention for validity that resistance training was not incorporated into the study. So nobody is increasing their muscle mass or decreasing their muscle mass intentionally throughout this study. So right here, I included the table that was included on all of my papers. So you can take a closer look at that. We have a mean of 19.68 here and a standard deviation of 1.477 for body fat percentage at the end of the 6 weeks. The gender is all 0 for females, and each category here illustrates every aspect of the entire study conducted. So here we can discuss the findings of the study and recommendations and additional research that might be needed. First off, findings suggest that fasted cardiovascular exercise has a positive effect on body composition by decreasing body fat percentage by 1 to 4% in college female athletes. So as the data shows, after hydrostatic weighing before and after, it is plausible that fasted cardiovascular exercise is a beneficial factor for weight loss and fat metabolism, even in female college athletes. Additional research needed to illustrate effects on fasted exercise on clinical health markers. So what I mean by this is that I can't necessarily say that I have a conclusion on whether or not this technique also has positive effects on health risks, as in reducing the risk of cardiovascular disease or diabetes, etc. So additional research would be needed for that. Resistance training may alter the results. So if somebody decides to conduct a study and include resistance training with fasting, it will alter the results by the end of the day as well. Lean tissue weight is expected to remain the same or have a slight decrease due to lack of training during experiment. So the lean tissue weight isn't really expected to fluctuate much with the fasted cardio and body composition. However, because we're not incorporating resistance training into the study, the body sometimes might turn to muscle for fuel as well. So if female athletes don't have a large body fat percentage, the body might turn to muscle. Therefore, we can expect a slight decrease in muscle tissue, but we don't expect a large decrease for that. So Here, it's definitely expected to have benefits. Fasted cardio is definitely a great technique for somebody to lose weight and to increase their health by decreasing their body composition and incorporating cardiovascular exercise, alternate day fasting, finding out what works for them, and trial and error. So here it is plausible that fasted cardiovascular exercise has positive effects. This was an awesome study to conduct, and I just really hope that you all enjoyed it. Dr. O'Rourke is fantastic, so I appreciate all of your guys' feedback, and thank you for being such a pleasure to work with in this class. You guys are awesome. Thank you.